Hi everyone, it's Chris and welcome back to another video. Thank you for joining me today, and thank you to everyone who takes the time to watch these videos, to click the like button, to leave a comment, and those people who subscribe as well. And if you're not a subscriber, I'd love to earn your subscription. The more the merrier, because then I'll be able to share my eclectic music collection with a lot more people. So if you're not a subscriber, please consider clicking the subscribe button. Thank you very much for your support. Now, recently I've done a few videos on record labels. I've done Two Tone, Motown, Chiswick, and a variety of others. And today I'm going to focus on Virgin, British record label, started in kind of 73, I think, by obviously Richard Branson. Started off as a record shop, I believe, maybe even mail order, possibly before that, and then escalated into a fully fledged label. Obviously the first album was Mike Oldfield, quite a famous one from them. But what I'm going to do today is just share with you 30 songs on the Virgin label that I think are worthy of your attention. These are some of my favourites. There are others as well, but these are the ones that I picked out for this particular video. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Let's start off with John Foxx, his debut solo album from 1980. So John Foxx was in the version of Ultravox with the exclamation mark, the more kind of new wave punky version of that band. Obviously they changed their sound, changed their name slightly, took away the exclamation mark, which was always a nod to the German band Neu. So quite a different band, but this is a really interesting debut album. Now, I don't know if John Foxx round about the time of this had been interrailing across Europe, but it's a very European sounding album. Lots of the subject matter and the titles are and the sound are very influenced by European music. So there's a few singles on here, Underpass, No One Driving, for example, but I love the song Plaza, which is incredibly European, made Kraftwerk influenced, no doubt, but this is a really good sparse electronic album. I really enjoy it. So anyway, Metamatic from John Foxx and Plaza, the first of about 30 songs I'll share with you today. Second up is from the debut album from Black Uhuru. I think this might be a very early reissue of it and a slightly different cover from the debut. And I can't remember what the debut was called. I think this is just called on here anyway, Black Uhuru. Some great songs on here. Shine Eye Girl, Leaving to Zion, great songs. But my favourite on here, my second pick for a Virgin song, is Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, which closes out side one, which is a fantastic little reggae song. Love that. Next up, is this the debut album from this band? I can't remember, but this is a latter reissue on Virgin of, I think, their debut album, and there's some absolutely classic songs on here, and two that really spring to mind: Electricity and the fantastic, the song I'm going to choose from here is my favourite, which is Messages. So there we are, orchestral manoeuvres in the dark. Now, back in the 80s, I had a little bit of a thing about this young lady. I think she was fantastic. Belinda Carlisle, beautiful, and a great little artist, actually, as well. Formerly of the Go-Go's, went solo, had quite a lot of success. This is her debut album from 87. Some good songs on here. Obviously, the title track, Heaven is a Place on Earth, Circle in the Sand, version of I Feel Free. Should I Let You In's a good song. There's some good songs on here, but you know, just as kind of a deep cut, if you like, Nobody Owns Me is a good little rock tune, actually. So Nobody Owns Me, Belinda Carlisle from 87, from her debut. This fella had been on a variety of labels. He is a guitarist who can play it all. He first came to my notice as a member of Thin Lizzy, and then as a kind of a fusion player in Colosseum 2. But he can play rock, he can play fusion, he can play the blues. And this is Gary Moore, Still Got the Blues. And my choice of this is the title track, which I think is just a brilliant song. Yes, it's a little bit like Parisian Walkways, but fantastic songs. That's my next Virgin track. Still Got the Blues by Gary Moore. This lady we sadly lost to a boating accident, just a brilliant performer. This is her Kite by Kirsty MacColl. Tremendous album. There's lots of good songs on here. Wonderful cover version of the Kinks' Days is on here, and a great song, Don't Come the Cowboy with Me, Sonny Jim, which is full of the kind of usual kind of Kirsty MacColl humour. But the opening track, Innocence, I think is a really, really good tune. What a great way to open the album. So that's my choice from that one. From the album Kite by Kirsty MacColl, that's Innocence, and that's from what, about 88, 89, somewhere around there. A band that it's not for everybody, this band. I like them, and I think they've done some wonderful songs. This is Simple Minds. I think they're a really good band, and I really like this live album. They became a bit of a kind of almost U2-y stadium rock band, I guess, having started off as, you know, almost electronic synth pop kind of band. But there's some fantastic songs. Don't You Forget About Me, one of my favourite songs by them, which is Waterfront. I love that song. Ghost Dancing, Promise You a Miracle, which was an early hit for them. But Sanctify Yourself, I think is a wonderful song, and that's my choice from Live in the City of Light by Simple Minds. Now, Virgin were very big pioneers of electronic music, and one of the biggest bands on their label in that kind of genre was, of course, Tangerine Dream. And they did bring out a seminal album called Phaedra, but it's not my favourite album by them by a long shot, actually. I much prefer this album. This isn't, again, probably isn't my favourite. My favourite is probably Ricochet, but I've shown that one before, so I'm going to show this one this time, which is Stratosphere. And my favourite song from this is the title track. It's a wonderful melody to it and great playing. So that's Tangerine Dream, Stratosphere, from the album Stratosphere, probably mid-70s. Now, I think this guy had been a member, hadn't he, of Tangerine Dream, but Edgar Froese, this is a solo album from him, and a decent one as well. This is the album Stuntman, which is a good song, and the song I'm going to choose from here is actually the title track, Stuntman, which is, again, really good melody to it. It's not just an ambient thing. It has got a bit more of a tune. It's not just noodling in the background. It's a good song. So, Stuntman, Edgar Froese, and that's from, I don't know when that's from. I'm going to say that's at late 70s, but I'm not sure. Next up is a band that has several incarnations. One is almost a fusion. The other one is a psychedelic, sort of trippy kind of band, and that's Gong. This is one of their later albums in their kind of psychedelic phase before they became much more of a fusion band, where Pierre Moulin was the main guy in the band. So this was prior to that, when Steve Hillage was a member. And there's one or two songs on here, Master Builder, which has got some great guitar work on it, which is, I think, just the same as the Glorious Om riff kind of riff. But my favourite on here is A Sprinkling of Clouds, which is a tremendous little psychedelic number. So if you don't know, the other song I do like on here is The Isle of Everywhere. And choose between one of those two songs. So that's A Sprinkling of Clouds and The Isle of Everywhere by Gong from the album You. And that's, or I don't even know when that is. Or that's got to be mid-70s. This band, this is not my favourite song by them, but I've shared my favourite song by them numerous times, so I'm going to share a different song by them. The band are the Motors. They first came to my attention when I heard Dancing the Night Away on John Peel's show. It was one of his favourite songs of that year, and I adore that song. And this is not as good as that, but it's still a great pop tune. And it's Airport, 12-inch version. This is on blue vinyl. They also did Forget About You as a 12-inch, which was on red vinyl, I think, which I've got somewhere. But this was just brilliant. And there was quite a lot of 12-inch singles that came out from Virgin in this kind of format as well. Maybe coloured vinyl, this kind of label, and this kind of sleeve. But this song, Airport, which I think is a fantastic pop tune. They could really write a melody, the Motors. Brilliant, love it. Next up is a band that I think are hugely underrated. So this was a band formed by Hal Devoto, who'd just come out of the Buzzcocks, and the debut album from his band, new band, was this one, Real Life by Magazine. Now, I've often featured this one, Definitive Gaze, Motorcade, two of my favourite songs on here, but I also love The Light Pours Out of Me. That's a tremendous song, and that's my next choice. What a great song that is. This is a really good debut album from this band. They were tremendous, and said overlooked. This is a band that had been on Ireland, I think, but also then they went over to Virgin, changed their sound, and they're a band that constantly kind of reinvent themselves a little bit. And this was their disco, Giorgio Moroder kind of era. Anyway, Beat the Clock. It's on yellow vinyl, and of course it's Sparks. That's a really good song. #1 song in heaven they did as well, didn't they, of that era? So that's the album track. So let's look at some 45s. Now, this is not my favourite song by them. That would be Where Were You? But that wasn't on Virgin. But Work All Week by the Mekons was on Virgin, and that's a decent song. So that's my first 45 choice from Virgin. I could also choose for the next band probably a song that I potentially like more, but I also really like this song, Firing Squad by Penetration. Great little band. I think they come from the northeast of England. I think Durham, But yeah, good little band. Don't Dictate is the song that's always on the punk compilations, but Firing Squad is a really good tune. Next band, well, there's one of their singles. Where is it there? And they produced some great stuff, although, you know, only one album, I think. But this is a kind of a reggae tinge number that I've got a lot of time for. This is Jar War by the Ruts, which I think is fantastic. They did some great stuff, and sadly, obviously, they lost their, is it Malcolm Owen, their singer, to drugs. They could have been huge, and they, for me, they were a band where just when you think punk's dying, along came the Ruts and Babylon's Burning, Staring at the Rude Boys, and I love that. Jar War, I think that's great. You know, I know the Clash did a lot of the reggae thing, but I think that's better than anything the Clash ever did in that kind of reggae sounding sort of song. Next up is a band I don't know anything about, a really hard band to categorise. They're kind of not new wave, they're kind of a bit avant-garde, possibly. First time I heard of this band, they were on this 12-inch single called Guillotine. Anyway, this is Do the Standing Still by The Table. I don't know anything about this band, but if you do, let me know. Quite weird. I think the guys in here went on to be quite good illustrators and did comics and things, but yeah, I don't know anything about them. So if you do, let me know. That's The Table, Do the Standing Still, Classics Illustrated. Bit of post-punk now, so we've got the Flying Lizards. They did lots of brilliant cover versions, didn't they? Summertime Blues. This is their version of Money, a really good version. Is it Barrett Strong who did that? I can't remember now. Public Image Limited. This is Death Disco. I could have shown the song Public Image. I don't have it in a newspaper sleeve, otherwise I probably would have shown that, but that's a really good title. Death Disco by Public Image Limited. This was a song born out of the breakup of one particular band, or this band, or the breakup from one particular band. This is Heaven 17, Sheffield-based band, and I don't know if this is their debut single. I think it is, actually, possibly. Anyway, my favourite, and that's Temptation. Love that song. And next up is the band I think that they did come from, at least one of them did, and that's Human League. And this is Sound of the Crowd. Now, there are probably other songs I prefer, but I don't think I've ever shown that one, so I will share that one with you. The Sound of the Crowd, Human League. Great song. I mentioned this lady the other day when I did another label, and that was MCA. And she sung some of the soundtrack of Evita. And it's Julie Covington, but she also produced in 77, the year after Evita, this song, which is the Alice Cooper song, Only Women Bleed, Julie Covington. And it's a tremendous version of that song. You know, it's a really good cover version. I love it. And a great voice, Julie Covington. And that's a really good single from 1977. The first album on Virgin was obviously Tubular Bells, and hugely successful. I don't always get that album, if I'm honest. It's okay. But I do really like this song, not on Tubular Bells, obviously, and features, what's her name? Is it Maggie Riley, isn't it, on vocals, which is who's a Scottish singer, I think. Anyway, Moonlight Shadow, which has got some lovely guitar work, because he was a decent guitarist, or is a decent guitarist, Mike Oldfield. But that's a nice song. Moonlight Shadow from Mike Oldfield. Ian Gillan. Ex of Deep Purple, he was in a band that had sort of some kind of jazz fusiony kind of stuff, the Ian Gillan Band, and then just changed the name to Gillan and produced much more rock stuff. The debut album, Mr. Universe, fitted in really well with the new wave of British heavy metal, and that was on a label called Acrobat, which went bust, sadly, as they were promoting the album, and that's why it didn't sell as many as it could have done. But they then went to Virgin, and this was the first single they did on Virgin, which is Sleeping on the Job, which was a track that came out, I think, on the Glory Road album, I think. Came with a free patch. Remember those days when you used to have patches, or people had patches on the back of their denim jackets? But that's a great little tune. Sleeping on the Job by Gillan. And still in the kind of rock vein, a band that I don't see, I think... Keith on Back in the Groove rather, shared this album recently, but it's Shooting Star, and this is a single of theirs from I've got the album as well, but this is from 1980 on Virgin, and it's called Wild in the Streets, which is okay, but the B-side is called Bring It On, which is a tremendous kind of melodic rock song with a great big guitar work at the end. So if you've not heard Bring It On by Shooting Star and you like hard rock, just stream it. It's a great song. Now we're going really into the kind of, this is the top sort of 6, I think, songs to be on Virgin. So first up is XTC, from a band from Swindon, did lots of great stuff. They really did some great stuff. I love this song. This is Senses Working Overtime, which I think is I think it's their best single. I love Making Plans for Nigel, having said that. But anyway, this is a great song. Generals and Majors is also really good. They've done loads, haven't they? But that's Senses Working Overtime, tremendous single from when's that? 82-ish. Brilliant single coming up. This is, I think, this band's best song. They then swapped over to another label. I can't remember, was it Polydor? I can't remember who, EMI possibly, their debut album is. But their debut single is on Virgin, and it's Oh Bondage Up Yours, X-Ray Specs, tremendous stuff. I've got their album Germ-Free Adolescence, and it's not the sort of thing that you can listen to the whole of, and this is like a really full-on song, but it's brilliant. Just such a brilliant song from 77, sadly not in a picture sleeve. Next up is a single that I bought pretty much as it came out, so this must be a 78 single, I would have thought. And I saw this guy not that long after, maybe in 79, maybe in 80, I can't remember now. I think National Health were the support band. Anyway, it's Steve Hillage. And this is a cover of the song Getting Better. Is that a Beatles song? I can't remember. But it's the B-side that I want you to alert you to, which is Palm Trees Love Guitar. That's probably, alongside the glorious Om Riff, which is on the same album, in fact, my favourite Steve Hillage song. Some wonderful kind of guitar synthesizer on it. Steve Hillage was a really good guitar player, and Palm Trees Love Guitar. Oh, I love it. Top three. Oh God, these singles are brilliant. I've shown these before. I've got to show them again because they're just magic. This is my favourite Skids 45. So this is The Saints Are Coming. It was on their debut album. I think it possibly, does it kick the album off? I can't remember now. But a great single. The Saints Are Coming by the Skids, Scottish band. Second, this is just the sound of this particular era for me. I love it. Sound of the Suburbs by the Members. What a fantastic 45 that is. Steve Lillywhite produced song, just brilliant, lyrically brilliant, great melody, fantastic stuff. And you've got to have this band as your favourite song ever on Virgin, or your favourite band on Virgin. Now, I haven't included albums today, just songs. I would have included their album, of course. We're talking about the Sex Pistols. This is Pretty Vacant, which is my favourite 45 from the Sex Pistols, and that's probably my favourite song on Virgin, as it is one of my favourite songs of all time. So there you go. It's about 30 of my favourites from this great diverse label. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Add anything that I've missed. What are your favourites on this label? And I'm sure I'll be back sometime with another video. Cheers.